Get the cream, precious metals or the crypto things. Your bars are light like the one that's on a Smith machine. But my Maxwell and I ain't speaking about the pretty wings. Watch.
There has been a lot of discussion over the course of the weekend since Friday. Since it occurred when Hit Row got drafted to SmackDown, there has been a lot of complaining, a lot of belly aching, a lot of arguing, a lot of hubbub about whether these guys are ready to go to the main roster or not, and whether they will succeed or not. And they have been doing some pushback. Swerve has pushed back. Top Dollar has pushed back. And to me, I understand, but at the end of the day, my thing is it's sink or swim. There is no such thing as ready. It's not. When you get the ball, you better run. And if they looking at you right now, and they say this is your shot right now, and you say, oh, I'm not ready, then they move on, and it may never come back. So if they look at you right now and they say you're on, then you better get ready, or you better at least do your best, because you're not going to. I mean, there's too many people on the roster for us to be doubling back to see if you have finally got your ish together. We don't have time for that. This is the WWE. All right, this is serious. Very few guys get more than one shot, and that second shot may come a long time. I've seen people compare. Oh, Hit Row is going to end up like Retribution. I say to myself, man, like, these people do not understand what Retribution was. They don't understand what Hit Row is. Hit Row has done interviews. I believe Swerve and Top Dollar have both done interviews talking about the formation of Hit Row and how this basically was a thing off screen long before it was on screen, that there are 4 like-minded individuals who wanted to be together in NXT, so Triple H put them together. Retribution was, a cupboard of knickknacks that they said, Mercedes Martinez and Mia Yim and Donovan Dijakovic and Mace, whatever the real guy's real name was. Like, none of these people had anything in common. They, like, there was nothing in common. There was nothing binding them together. The presentation was fine at first, but then it went off the rails immediately. The crowd hated it. Nobody liked it. Nobody really got what Retribution was supposed to be. The message was sloppily presented. It was all trash from the jump. It was trash. Hit Row is completely different. From the beginning, what Hit Row is. It's a record label. It's a group of rappers, and each one playing their own role, having individual characteristics, individual personalities within that role. When they were formed around the time Swerve turned heel. So what was this, 2020? So it probably hasn't been a year, but it hasn't been that long either. But ultimately, it doesn't matter how long it is. You've got to, when you get the ball, you got to run with it. So what the argument of whether they're quote unquote ready or not, look, we can sit here and be honest. B-Fab is not good. B-Fab as a wrestler, not good. I am a better wrestler than B-Fab. All right. The question here isn't whether she's good at wrestling or not. It's about what kind of role will she have. Just because she's not good at wrestling, that doesn't mean she's actually going to be wrestling. She might just be in a managerial position, and taking bumps is part of being a manager. So yes, if you're going to be a manager, you need to learn how to take bumps. And you can look at her performances and tell that she should not be in the ring, at least not full time. She's cool with, knocking her off the ring apron. You want to clothesline her, body slam her or something like that. Okay, cool. And that's it. But her getting in the ring, working her own matches, I don't know about that one, dog. I don't know about that one. But this is the testing grounds. She don't have a choice. Sure, it's difficult. Sure, you should say, oh, these people should be in NXT for a year. They should be there for 2 years. Then you have somebody like Aaliyah who was there for 7 years. Her and D'Angelo Dawkins were in there forever. You don't. Sometimes when you get the call, you gotta go. One way or another, you gotta go. Some people might get 7 years. Some people might get 8 years. Some people may get a couple of months. Some people like Shanky or Veer, don't go to the NXT at all. Well, I think Veer went to NXT for a short time. But Shanky didn't go through NXT at all. Braun Strowman didn't go through NXT either. You know, everybody's path is going to be different. And everybody's going to have different levels of success. The bottom line is, when you get the ball, you need to be ready. So one of the bigger complaints I saw is people saying, well, this is a stereotypical gimmick. What do they think is going to happen when all these middle-aged white dudes are writing your promos? And, you know, or what can they do? What's going to happen when you start scripting their promos, or when they have to go off script, and all of these, you know, these issues that people have. And these guys, which is, you know, Top Dollar, spending his entire weekend arguing with people on Twitter about this thing. It's like, look, I respect the fact that Top Dollar has, you know, has faith in his crew. You know, they were put together. I think he actually might have been the one to put the thing together. He's got faith in his crew. I don't have a choice but to say he's got faith in his crew. That's good. He should have faith in his crew. The fans, though, are not paying attention. Again, you can look up interviews. These guys have been saying for weeks now they come up with their own material. They've been doing their own thing. It was their idea to be together. It feels natural as far as the chemistry is concerned, because it is. This is what they do already. They're not concerned about scripts or not scripts, and they're not concerned about any of that stuff. They're just saying, give us the ball, let us go. And my thing is, that should be everybody's position. Don't concern yourself. I mean, sometimes you got these fans who want to coddle the wrestlers. You know, stay in NXT forever, man. It's like, no, you can't. You can't stay in NXT forever. I'm saying get them the hell out of there. You know, because for starters, they make more money on Raw or SmackDown. Why would you want them to make less money? I mean, it's stuck in NXT. That doesn't make any sense. Secondly, what is the point of signing a WWE contract if you have no interest in wanting to be in the biggest possible shows? Why wouldn't you want a larger audience? Even if you fail, it's worked. Look at all these guys now who, you know, went through NXT to a degree and they got released. And now some of them are making more money than they've ever made before, you know, because they were on television and they went back to the independents. Now they're getting more work than ever before. And people actually care about them now. If Hit Row goes on SmackDown and they fail, they flop out in a year or something like that, and Vince fires them all out of anger, guess what? They just go on the independents. They make more money than ever before, for the most part. I mean, Swerve was already an indie darling, which is why I'm not surprised he got pulled out of NXT. He was already a long-term indie darling. You think somehow he's going to be damaged by going to SmackDown and failing? No. How many indie guys have gone to WWE and failed and then came back and was continuously, you know, went back to doing whatever they were doing on the independents and everything was all right? Now, the others, Top Dollar has, you know, he was a wrestling guy. He's a wrestling fan who didn't have any background in wrestling. He was a football player. And B-Fab has no background in wrestling. So this might be their only shot to really make it, which is more pressure on them than it is on Swerve, to be quite honest, because, again, Swerve could always go back to the independents. But sometimes pressure makes diamonds. You don't have a choice. You got to go out there and get it. These fans who want to coddle the wrestlers, man, they are stunting their growth. You got to get off it. You cannot treat grown people like children. You cannot. The point of them signing NXT contracts is for one day to go to Raw or SmackDown. Or, you know, I'm sure if you ask every one of them, hey, you want to main event WrestleMania? Absolutely. You can't do it from NXT. That's not going to happen. So you got to get out of there. And if you feel like you've been pulled out early, guess what? You're going to have enough time, because you're likely not getting a super push out of SmackDown anyway, you know, because you got the Roman problem. He's at the top. So whether they baby faces or heels, however that's going to go, they're going to have time to develop. All they need is, you know, a couple of minutes here and there in order to work the gimmick, get people used to it, get people to acclimated to what they're doing. That's all they really need. Now, again, we can criticize the skill level of some of them. Again, B-Fab. We can criticize all these other things. But the idea that it's a stereotype when it's their idea is nonsense. The idea that all of a sudden, they're going to be told what to say and they're not going to be able to do it is like, well, maybe, maybe not. We'll see. Is WWE going to make some kind of changes to the group? Maybe. Will they be petty changes that people are going to blow out of proportion? Yes. Are they going to change somebody's name and then people are going to say he's never going to get over with that name? Probably. I'm already ready for all of this stuff. I'm ready for all the smoke, right? I'm ready for all of it because I know what's coming. It's not a surprise to me. It's not a surprise to me. They probably won't even call AJ Francis AJ Francis. Probably her name probably just gonna be top dollar from here on out because why not? And we'll figure it out. But I'm at the tip now where I don't see the point in arguing with fans who don't know anything, have all of these assumptions, and who are loud and wrong. But they came up with this stuff themselves, like this whole thing, their whole presentation, it's just them. And Swerve is there to be the mentor. He's there to teach these guys who don't have the same amount of experience as he does. That's his role too. So he has a dual role of trying to get himself over, but he's also trying to help elevate these guys too. And there is some benefit there that could be had. I don't see a problem with Hit Row other than, WWE having one itis for, AJ Francis. And that's pretty much it. That's the only problem I really got. Well, I shouldn't say the only problem I really got because there is the little issue of WWE not booking factions, well. They book factions horribly. And then you also have the issue of B-Fab. But again, B-Fab's issue could be handled by her just not being in the ring. She adds swag and personality and legitimacy to the group because she has that musical background. And, pretty much everybody who can Google her can find that out. So she adds a certain level of legitimacy to it. And, Swerve is the mentor, even though I don't think he's that old. But he's going to be the mentor of the group. So there's some good elements here. Instead of focusing on the negative, let's focus on a little bit on the positives. They do have something that the fans can connect to. They do have personality. They do have swag. They do come across as being different and unique than other groups. So it's a good thing. And they could possibly make it if WWE books the faction well, which is asking a lot from WWE. That's asking a lot. But outside of maybe these three things, WWE having one itis for AJ Francis because of his size, WWE's penchant for not booking factions properly, and them doing something silly like wanting to have B-Fab wrestle on TV every week. If they can avoid those three things, then I don't see any reason why they wouldn't be successful. And that would just lead to the other problems that we would have here would be how to get this North American title off of Swerve, which of course any 3 count or submission can handle. Of course, it'll be anticlimactic and silly because, hey, you've already drafted the guy, so of course he's going to lose the title. But that's pretty much it. I say they only get one shot. They only get one chance to blow. Give it to them, and let's see. There's going to be a lot of people who don't like Hit Row already, who thought they were lame as hell in NXT and think, oh, it's not going to be any better on SmackDown. There are some people who are indifferent, who are still going to be indifferent. There's going to be people who love it, and there's going to be people who are going to continue to love it. I did when I heard they were drafted. I think they appeared in a dark match on SmackDown, and there was fan cameras of, some people going nuts for Hit Row, because they actually watch NXT and they love these guys. Okay. But there's going to be a lot of other people who say like, oh my God, now they're going to be rapping on SmackDown, which is my thing. I don't like rap gimmicks. I'm over them. So my whole thing is, all right, if we're going to be doing rap gimmicks, I can tune out. Not interested. But I'm at the point now where I'm just kind of like, I'm getting kind of pissed at these paternal fans who are, everybody needs to just stay in NXT. Just stay there. It's like, stop trying to tell people to hide under the covers. Get your ass out from under them covers. Come on, man. What did you sign this contract for? To hang out in NXT for years? Swerve has been in NXT for 2 or 3 years now. No, let's get him out of there. Ashanti Theodonis has been in NXT for years now. So yeah, Hit Row maybe is new, but Swerve has had a long career in independence, and he's been in NXT for 2 or 3 years already. I think Swerve's been in NXT almost as long as Keith Lee was. Like, no, get him out of there, man. Swerve is going to be fine. I don't have no problem with him. I believe Swerve is going to make it. With the right push, the right programs, the right promos and stuff like that, I believe Swerve can make it. I know WWE is probably going to be looking more at AJ Francis because of his size, but that's going to be a difficult game to play. They're probably going to make them a tag team for a little while. I am deeply concerned about if we're going to leave the Street Profits and the New Day on SmackDown, what are the interactions going to be? Are they going to do something silly like Hit Row challenging New Day to a rap battle, which I'm telling you is going to be full body cringe. That kind of stuff. That's the kind of stuff I'm thinking about. I'm not thinking about, oh my God, they can't wrestle. They can't. I'm like, no, because that's not even the important part. The important part is, do they have the personality? Do they have anything about them that's going to be able to get them over? And yes, they do. They have a good presentation. When they first debuted, people liked Hit Row because they debuted as a heel stable. But a lot of people have been criticizing them since they've been baby faces. And I've been criticizing them since they've been baby faces. I don't think rap gimmicks really fit baby faces, if we're being honest. Because a lot of the rap stuff is about dissing people. And I think it's easier to do when you're a heel. Because you can do it as a babyface. John Cena did it. But it also just comes across as mean-spirited kind of sometimes. But whatever. In any event, if you're being paternalistic about everybody needs to stay in NXT or they need a little bit more time, and it's like, no, we don't got. If they're calling you up now, go now. Okay, that's the bottom line. If they're calling you up now, go now, and try to make the most of it. Do what you can. Control the part of the discussion that you could control. Don't worry about people who are doubting you. And I'm not even saying that Hit Row is going to guarantee to be a good thing. Not. Because there are no guarantees. Except that Braun Breaker is going to be WWE champion. That's a lead pipe lock right there. He's the new Roman. But when it comes to Hit Row, they need the opportunities. They need the time. I'm sure they'll get it. With New Day on SmackDown, they'll have mentors. So it'll be okay. It'll work itself out one way or the other. And we'll see who swings and swims. The only issue I'm going to have is WWE does not book factions correctly. That's my main concern, is that they're going to get the faction. They're going to look at the faction. They're going to say, oh, Shanti Theodonis is very small. He's going to be the job guy. Swerve is old, and he's an indie guy. They're going to nitpick him to death. AJ Francis is a big dude. They're probably going to put a lot of effort and push him as being the front guy for a long time. B-Fab is likely going to just be outside the ring until they need her to do something, and hopefully it's not much. But I can just tell you that's how people are going to look at it. So if Ashanti Theodonis goes out there and blows them out of the water, then they're still going to be like, that AJ Francis, man, look at him. He's big, Look at the size of him. Look at his arms. Look at his beard. It's that kind of stuff. That's how WWE thinks. If anything, that's going to be the poison, is going to be they're waiting for AJ Francis to break out and become the big guy that they want him to be. And that's really what they're going to be looking for. They're not really going to be looking at everybody else individually, trying to move them up. It's going to be a vehicle for getting AJ Francis over. And to me, that is the singular problem with Hit Row being called up, is that it's probably just going to be a thing to get AJ over and not Swerve, who is the superior worker or, personality too. That's my only problem. But we'll see, because I don't know for sure. We'll see. But I found it humorous that they're arguing with these people. I'm like, no, don't do that. Don't even do that. Show, don't tell. Don't tell me, oh, we can do promos, we can do this, we can do that. No, just show me. Just show me. There's going to be people who are going to hate it. regardless. That's the same for everybody. There's people who are, oh, Roman is boring. Roman is tired now. Don't even concern yourself with that. Just do your thing. And fans will either get on or get off. I mean, it's one way or the other. You know, you don't really have a choice. But I wouldn't say don't call them up. Why not? I don't see why you wouldn't call them up. The only problem we got here is the title, which is, was my issue, is Swerve is running around with a belt. He hasn't been defending it. Hasn't really been doing much of anything. He's been feuding with Legado del Fantasma, but he hasn't been defending the belt. So now what are we going to do with him and this belt? That's my main question. Outside of that, Hit Rows, they can go. They can make room for other people to get over. I'm cool with that.
Tell me what's worse than learning all that you led to believe was all horse crap. They distort, so question as if